Heather. Welcome to the Personal PR Show, Heather, and welcome everybody as well to the Personal PR Show, to another episode of the Personal PR Show. Tonight, Switzerland time, and this morning, Pacific time, we are here with Heather. Heather, hello, how are you?
I'm amazing. I'm so excited to be here.
We're so excited to have you here too. Oh my God, there will be so much to learn from you today. So thank you so much for making the time. And this conversation is going to be a lot of fun. So Heather, would you like to tell us who you are, where you're from, what you do? I mean, we introduced you a few days ago, but I'm sure that our audience would like to know even more about you.
Yes, would love to. So I live in Oregon, United States, and I was in corporate banking for about 20 years. The last 15 years of my role or of my job, I was recruited around to improve low performing territories and teams within the company. I worked in the mortgage department. I worked in investments. I worked in the banking center world, where you go in to make a deposit in the brick and mortars. I managed a territory of those, and I loved my job. I created processes. I was like the Calgary when things didn't look like they were going to get better. They would call me in, and I didn't know at the time, but I used my intuitive skills to turn teams around. So, but about 3 years ago, my corporate career came to an end, and one day I came home from a meeting, and I went to go pour a glass of wine, and I heard this voice come over that said, "Don't drink anything tonight." And I did. That was just really, really bizarre. And I went to bed that night, and I was laying in bed awake, couldn't go to sleep. And about 11:30 at night, I was visited by two angels that began speaking to me, and they spoke to me for about 4 hours. And they shared with me that my path was to use my corporate career and now become a self-employed, basically channel to help small businesses and corporations, really with improving the health of their company, and which obviously improves the revenue of their company and all the way down. So about a year after that, I started channeling out of the blue. I would be out in public, and all of a sudden I would get this download of information for the stranger, and I would just know everything about them. And I went up to them and I would ask, I'm very gregarious. So I would go up and I would explain to them what happened and find out how that resonated. And every time they were like, "How did you know that?" And then it progressed to, I now channel. So I channel for individuals and help people with their businesses and corporations. And I channel the Akashic records. So I'm an oracle, and my guides have told me that I'm here to really help women and men, but mostly women, really create and improve their businesses to help the collective during this really unprecedented time in human history.
Oh my God, this is so impressive. Wow. I have so many questions. So the first one would be, maybe just I think I know because I've already heard of this, but maybe our audience doesn't know what an Akashic record is. Should we give a quick definition of that?
So I had never heard of this stuff. And by the way, I didn't believe in any of this either. I grew up in church, and I kind of went my own way after I got out of my parents' house, and I just never resonated. So this was all completely new. I didn't really know if anything existed beyond this, but I have been shown that it does. In fact, much exists beyond this. So the Akashic records are basically all past, present, and future potential realities. So when I'm working with a client and there's something that they're looking to improve, or they want it to help with a decision. I'm also a medium, by the way. This all happened out of the blue. So whatever it is that my client wants me to look at, what I do is I access the Akashic records and I find out anything really. The information is unlimited, but what I'll do is my team, my cosmic council will show me the past lives that contributed to the planning of this life. And that's all within the Akashic records. So I can access and find out, why are certain people drawn to each other in this lifetime? Why are people being drawn to certain types of jobs or careers, or understanding relationships between parents and children? You access the Akashic records for that, and you can find, my guides will show me the soul contracts that each person created with people, with places, with experiences that are all part of their divine life blueprint that they created for themselves to learn certain lessons, to evolve as a soul, and really primarily to help the collective while they're here. So that's the Akashic Records encompasses all of that.
Oh my God, this is amazing. So past, present, and also future. Wow. And so thank you so much for the definition. And you also, this is a question that I wanted to ask you even before you gave us this answer about the Akashic Records, but it's something that you touched on as well during your answer. You said that you didn't believe in this stuff at the beginning, right? So it just happened to you. It's not that you, let's say, you were already interested in these topics, right? So you were reading about them and researching and so on. And then all of a sudden you felt aligned to what you were researching. No. You had no clue about this. You didn't. So what was your first reaction when this happened to you? You were channeling, probably you didn't even know that you were channeling, right?
No, I had no idea. I had no idea what was happening. I mean, my first big wake up call is when the two angels visited me and they showed me visions, and I was overcome with this immense feeling of love and joy. The only thing that existed was love and joy, and I've since learned that that's what's beyond this is only love and joy. So that was a surprise, but also there was this feeling of like remembrance. It was almost like I felt at home. It was like this, it's like nostalgia, or when you have deja vu and you don't know why something feels familiar. That's what it felt like. So when I started channeling, it was like that. It was a surprise, but it was also like this remembrance, and like it was this comfortable thing. So at first I didn't know what was happening when I was getting all this information for strangers. And luckily the universe, I said, hey, I don't know what's going on here. What's going on? And I started asking for help, and the universe started bringing me signs, and they brought me people who started explaining to me what was happening. After I explained to them my experiences, they said, you're channeling. And I have yet to meet someone that really channels like me. It's very, what happens is when I channel for a client, I usually have a blindfold and I listen to shamanic drumming, and then I get plugged in really quickly to this divine, unlimited access of information. And they'll show me movies, like visions, to help explain whatever the client's looking to understand. And then I get this download of information on my solar plexus. So I've been channeling privately about a year and a half. And like I said, it was out of the blue and it was foreign, but there was this feeling of remembrance. And so I've since learned that I've done this in other lifetimes. I have been a shaman, I have been a medium, I have been an oracle in other lifetimes. And I came here and chose to stay asleep for most of my life so I could get my corporate career background in, and then use that and leverage that, combined with now this superpower to help corporations and businesses. So I hope that answers your question.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And actually, you even anticipated a question of mine, which was going to be, so how were you then able to connect your corporate career, right, with this new life, this new identity for yourself, right, of channeling and being an oracle and a medium and all the good titles that you have just mentioned, right? So it seems you really found your sweet spot there between your past and your present, right?
Yes, I did. I am currently. So this has evolved. And I think this is what I see a lot with clients too. You might start out feeling drawn to something, feeling drawn to helping people with something. And then naturally, it organically sometimes morphs into something else. So that's kind of what happened with me. I just started channeling for individuals. And about 6 or 7 years ago, before I woke up, before any of this happened, when I was still in corporate, I had this undeniable pull to become a consultant for businesses. And I didn't know where that was coming from. So now, fast forward, what the universe does is it brings you little breadcrumbs, and you just follow the breadcrumbs, right? So I didn't know 2 years ago that I would be using my channeling to help corporations and businesses. So what the universe did was it brought me individuals. I started channeling for individuals. They all happened to be self-employed. So it was entrepreneurs, most of them, not all of them, and then more breadcrumbs were dropped, and I was finally reconciled with the feeling that I started having 6 or 7 years ago to become a consultant for businesses. But that was my corporate career was my prerequisites, and now I'm combining the two. So I basically a lot of this is me trusting in the universe and trusting in myself, in my higher self to guide me. because a couple of years ago, I didn't know what I was going to do with this. I thought I'm going to become a consultant, but then I started channeling and helping people. And I thought, oh, I guess I'm putting my business consulting on the side. But really what it was I was getting the practice with individuals in order to become a business consultant. So things just sometimes organically evolve based on our soul contracts. The soul contracts we created for ourselves, we only will find out just enough information to keep us going. If we see the whole pathway, if we see, for instance, if you saw where you're going to be in 5 years, there could be some fear that comes in with the bigness of it, right? There could be some questions about, well, how did I get there? And it could delay or keep you from being on your path. So the universe brings you just enough to get you to the next step. And the big secret is to trust, is to really just trust that there are no coincidences.
Wow. I love all of these. I have so many questions again. Oh my God, I have to contain myself. I can't ask all the questions that I have in mind. Well, oh yes. Okay, cool. So basically, let's say you were in your previous life and then you started channeling and all the good things that you told us about. And then in the beginning, you couldn't understand what it was, right? And then you were able to, like, with the help of some people, you were able to understand. Then you kind of accepted it as well, this new identity of yours, this new dimension in which you were expressing yourself. And then was it difficult for you to find, let's say, the sweet spot that we've just talked about now, right? Combining companies, like your corporate career, let's say, and your corporate experience with, this new identity of yours? Or was it something that just came with time? And was it something that just came from you or maybe from other people as well? Because I'm trying to understand how the genesis, let's say, of your personal brand, because we're here to talk about your personal brand. Like the title of this conversation says it all. Like, how can you position yourself as a spiritual entrepreneur after a successful corporate career and a successful corporate career, right? So were you scared? I know that these are a lot of questions, feel free to unpack, but my question is, were you scared to put yourself out there as a spiritual entrepreneur when everybody knew you as a super, let's say, badass corporate powerhouse?
Yeah, great question. In the beginning, I was a little hesitant just because, like you just said, first of all, I didn't believe in any of this before. So no one in my 20 years of working at this Fortune 100 bank has ever heard of me doing. I know thousands of people at this bank because I have been managing territories and teams for 15 years. So I've known a lot of people. People across the entire country know who I am. I have a very unique skill set. So no one had heard of me talking about any of this stuff before. So there was a little hesitancy at first, like, how am I going to come out? In fact, I got about 9 months ago, I started feeling this really strong urge that it was time to come out, after privately channeling. So it was, what happens is you get in your head, right? Our ego is here to save us. Our ego is here to protect us. And I was in my head thinking, oh my gosh, what are people going to think? Should I put a video together explaining all this? Like, how do I do this? And in the end, my guides, just said, just organically evolve. So I just organically started posting little things on Instagram. I have been off social media for like 8 years. So I just started organically posting. I created a new account on Instagram just for my business. And I once in a while will post on my other accounts, like, check out what I'm doing now. And I just trust that the universe is going to bring the right people over there. Right. But it also, I know this is what I'm here to do. And when you're doing what you came here to do, nothing lights you up like it, right? Like anytime you work with a client and you see a breakthrough or whatever it is that you do as an entrepreneur, anytime you are helping someone in a place of what brings you joy, it will light you up, right? When you're helping other people. So I knew that every time I channel, every time I work with a client, I am literally on cloud 9 for like hours, the rest of the day. So I knew, coming from that place, there was no doubt. When I get rid of doubt, when you get rid of doubt and you get rid of the ego spiral and you get rid of the questions and the what ifs and the whatever, then it's really clear. This is my mission. This is my purpose. So it's just about taking the plunge. It's just about going in. But in the beginning, it was a little, it was a little, I was a little nervous about coming out as something that people consider woo-woo, and the depth of what I'm capable of doing is really shocking for people when they have a session. So it's like, how do I explain that to people who knew me from the past as a very masculine brained, so it's just trusting and organically letting each situation organically bring you to the next one, and not biting off more than you can chew, and just trusting that it's going to organically, you're going to organically grow into your spiritual business, and you don't have to worry about thinking, where am I going to be in 3 years and how do I present that now? You just take it one step at a time. If that makes sense.
Well, yeah, definitely. So thank you so much for sharing the process that led you to coming out 9 months ago. And now, what was the reaction of the audience? And let's say that the audience is composed by people who knew you already and people who didn't know you already, right? So what was the reaction of these two groups?
Honestly, it's so peppered and scattered all over the board. I wouldn't say, I've channeled for people who knew me in the past, and this is what happens. The universe will bring you the people that you're aligned to, right? So I haven't had any weird conversations. Those people haven't reached out to me yet. So the people that I have worked with have been very, very open. And in fact, I started to realize that people that knew me from my past life, many people that I didn't realize were spiritual, but they also weren't talking about it. So the universe connects you with the people, right? So let's see, what else? The people who didn't know me, I mean, I guess there's a shock level on both levels. People who knew me before and now seeing what I do now is very, they're always floored, because this is not something that they've ever seen before. And then people who don't know me, I get a lot of clients from, I'll do a session for someone and then they'll, in fact, I just pinned this to my Instagram account yesterday. One of the girls that I did a session for a few weeks ago, she posted a review on her Instagram, and I repinned it. And so most of my clients through Instagram they're not people I know, they're people who've been referred. And so the shock value with those clients are, many of them are spiritual and they've had readings by an oracle or they've had readings by a channel. But from what I'm hearing, my gift is very, very unique. So being able to access, like I said, all past, present, and future realities, tap into what your mission is here, your purpose, past lives, all of that. The shock value with that group comes from just not experiencing a reading like this before, like this in depth. So it always just lights me up when I can provide something to someone, and when I can provide answers to someone about whatever they're seeking in their life, that comes from the profound depth of the explanation of past lives, or the reason why you're on this path is because this is what's coming in the future, and seeing how that literally shifts in every area of their life. Once that light bulb goes off and you go, oh my gosh, that's why I've been pulled to do this, or this is why I love talking to people about this so much. Once that light goes off, it's like you just quantum leap. You just start quantum leaping forward in your life. And that's where the shock comes from, I guess, is how profound this is. 1 hour session is like equivalent to, I've had people tell me, these testimonies are on my website. I've had people tell me that a session with me was more helpful than like 2 years of therapy, because I get right to the root instead of talking through it in therapy, whatever, if it's relationships, career stuff, challenges with children or whatever, you get right to the root instead of trying to on your own talk through it, right? So the shock value comes from that so much. It doesn't come so much from people knowing me as a corporate VP. It comes from like what's actually possible and the information that I pull in from my sessions. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, definitely. Absolutely. And you've made me so curious, and I bet everybody else. You said that basically people tell you that readings with you are completely different from any other readings that they've had. So at this stage, my question, a question comes very spontaneously. And the question is, would you like to give us a taste? So I don't know, is there any message that you would like to share with us, especially I would say with women entrepreneurs, because you said that you work with both men and women, but you have, let's say you prefer working with women even more, right?
Well, yeah. Yes. Well, first of all, I would love to give you a taste sometime of a real reading if you want to. On another call, what I could do is, and this is what I'm doing. I'm, Lauren from Sapphire, and like there's some other people that I'm lining up like 30-minute live channeling reviews where we're going to be presenting live. I'll be channeling live, and it's going to be specifically to your business. So channeling in your purpose and your mission, and to help you understand the profoundness of what you've been called to do. So we can do that another time, but I would love to share some messages that have been coming through. So when I channel for people, it's very unique to them. It's 1000% unique to them and their experience. But there's been themes that have been coming through. And when I worked in corporate, I was really, really drawn to supporting and helping women for whatever reason. And now I know that's my purpose and path. I do help men too, but the messages that have been coming through are that we have chosen to incarnate here as women. So us as women in this lifetime, you can choose to incarnate as a man or a woman and other things, which is another topic. So when we've chosen as women to incarnate here as women to bring the divine feminine energy, because this planet, our Earth, has been unbalanced for so long. There's a patriarchy energy running the planet, right? So there's divine masculine men all around, but for the most part, we've been controlled. There's a lot of control. There's a lot of fear and a lot of, there's a lot of corruption going on in the planet. And so many of us, light workers, you're one of them, said, all right, I'm going down as a woman this time. I'm bringing the divine feminine energy. And this is what my guides have been showing me. Do you see this hand on the, do you see the hand on my screen? That's my guides. So my guides do this when I'm making a point. They will do this. So this is what's happening now. So they really want to make this point. This happens when I'm channeling for people. They'll pop up a hand when there's a point to be made. So this is the point they want me to share. This is how crazy it gets. And sometimes my lights will start flashing if they really want to make a point. So we chose to incarnate as women to bring in this divine feminine energy. And there's two things here. If based on what you've been doing now, you're in such a beautiful place. You're helping so many women. How many women have left a corporate career, right? We have purposely incarnated here. We said, put us in corporations, give us the background we need. And then you start getting this indescribable pull. Either you choose to leave your career, you're terminated for whatever reason, whatever it is, you've left the corporate career, and then we have been called to create our own businesses because we're being asked to let the old systems dismantle. And the more that the divine feminine energy is in these corporations, supporting the corporations, and we're basically allowing things that no longer serve us, that no longer serve the collective, the banking system. My guides show me that medicine, education, politics, and banking are the systems that are trying to fall. They're trying to dismantle. So we're being called out of those to create our own businesses, to start preparing for when those dismantle. We're creating the new world. So there's a reason why we've come here as women. We've come here to bring this new energy that's going to create the new world. And the more that women are called out, I touched on this, but this comes in really strong a lot. The more that women are called out of the corporations, we are taking our divine feminine energy out. The businesses can't stay stable. So they're going to start crumbling. And that's twofold. It's 2 points, right? We're here to create the new world, but we're also here to let the old world fall by removing ourselves. So I get a lot of clients I have doctors that I work with that say, I got into this business because I really want to help patients. I really want to help people, but I'm not feeling aligned anymore. Like there's so much bureaucratic control within the business. And I feel like I should start my own, I should leave, but I don't know what to do. Like I went to college for this. What do I do? And every time it's, you're getting this call because it's time to leave, because you're getting the alarm clock. It's the wake up. It's time now. We set this plan for ourselves. We just don't remember. We set this blueprint. We created this soul contract to learn what we needed to learn within medicine, corporate, banking, education, whatever it is, to get our prerequisites in so that we have the successful foundation to get out and create the new world. So it's not an accident that all these women are being called out of these corporations. They're saying this is on purpose. We created this for ourselves.
Oh my God. And this is your message to women. So women, please listen to this again and again and again a few times. Go back in the recording and listen to the last 5 minutes, because this is our purpose. This is why we're here on planet Earth, and this is why we are starting our own businesses and so on, to dismantle the patriarchy, basically, and especially these specific area, these 4 areas, right? Yes. Oh my God, this is amazing. Thank you so much for this general reading for all women in a way on Earth right now, especially like women entrepreneurs. I find this so fascinating. And also, you know, Heather, you guys don't know because you can't see her, but we do have a third person here on Zoom. She's not just on the spotlight, and maybe she doesn't want to be in the spotlight, but maybe she has a question or a comment or anything of the kind, because actually she happens to have a background in energetics as well, Heather. And this is Therese. She's Irish, and she's based in Portugal. So Therese, are you there? And is there any question that you would like to ask? Not to worry, you don't need to be in the spotlight if you don't want to, but maybe you would like to share your voice.
Yeah, I'm here, but kind of accidentally, but not accidentally. Yeah, like I was just loving everything that Heather was saying. Really resonates, you know. I also get that sense that we get revealed what we need to know in the moment, you know. So it's like, why do I change career? Why do I do that? And it's like exactly what Heather was saying. If you knew the full story, your mind would probably blow and you wouldn't be able to serve anyone. So yeah, like as far as a question, I was just so in it. I was just loving it. I wasn't really thinking of questions. But if I did have a question, it would probably be around like practical things that women can do to start anchoring in their own intuition, you know, because you're saying a lot of people are getting told to maybe take the jump, leave, but it's all they know, you know. It's like, this is what I've studied, and you know, you know, we tend to get like tunneled into our education, and then there's like, how do I know what's right for me? So just out of curiosity, is there anything that you'd recommend?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So what I'd recommend first is, so what happened with me is 3 years ago is when I left, and things had become so difficult. It was actually, the corporation became very, very toxic. And it was just so hard. They were really oppressing the people there, and I was protecting all of these people. And so one day it was really, really rough for a couple of years. And one day I was laying in bed and I just said, if there's anything out there, if there's anything beyond this, I need help. And immediately stuff started happening. So my number one is ask for help. The universe, there is something called, I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but there's something called the law of non-intervention. And our guides and our beings and our angels cannot interfere in our path unless we ask for help. So you have to ask for help. But we're raised in a society, especially as women, we have to be all the things, right? We're raised like, oh, we're the moms and we're the wives and we're the chefs and we're the cooks and we're the cleaners, and we also have corporate jobs, so we don't really ask for help. And that was the number one thing I learned, was intuitively just say, I need help, show me my path, and then it will be revealed. So that would be number one. Just know that when you ask for help, if with your intention, the cavalry will come in, and it's not going to look like you thought it was going to look. I can tell you that too. So I guess number two would be open to it being delivered in any form. It could be delivered in any form. So it's not going to look like you thought. Maybe you meet someone at dinner. Maybe you get a phone call. Maybe someone, whatever it is, maybe you get in a car accident and you hit the back of someone's car who's a contact for something. It will literally be delivered in a way that won't look like a miracle. So you have to be open, because the universe will bring you the help. And then number two, I just did a 4-week course called Inspired, where I was teaching these techniques. And the feedback was really, really wonderful. Being able to connect. I taught people, and this is number 2, learn how to get really, really good at connecting to your higher self or your guides. And what I recommend to people is, when you're meditating, a lot of people meditate in different ways. And meditating was really, really hard for me at first, because I was just sitting there with your eyes closed going, what am I doing? I'm sitting here with my eyes closed and my to-do list is coming in, and the conversation I had an hour ago is coming in. And I'm like, this is too hard. So I started meditating with intention and saying, all right, what is the next step for me? What is my purpose? Or I would say things like, I feel like I'm here to help women, or I feel like I'm here to become a consultant, but it's not clear. Please bring it. I need it to be very clear. And then let the answer come in for that. So while you're meditating or you're doing your spiritual techniques, do them with intention and ask for guidance. So you're going to then, again, which goes back to number 1, you're going to start seeing signs. Things are going to start happening. You'll start seeing angel signs. People will start coming into your life and randomly striking up conversations about stuff. About a month ago, I got this nudge. Number 3 would be just say yes. Say yes to everything. Just say yes. About a month ago, I got this nudge to reach out to someone on Facebook that I knew a little bit about 10 years ago. And we're now starting a business together. I had no idea why I had this nudge to reach out. Turns out she's also a corporate healer, and we're now creating a business together. So your guides know, our higher self knows. In fact, our higher self is us. We created this soul contracts in this lifetime for ourselves. We created this divine life blueprint. We can't remember here in our mind, but our higher self does. So staying anchored and connected to your higher self as much as possible, and asking for help with the next steps, that is the key. So those are the 3 things I would recommend.
Oh my God, this is amazing to hear as well. What do you say, Therese? Yeah, my cat is here.
Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah, I completely.
It's attracted to the energy of the 2 of you, because you're both very, as we know, energetic powerhouses. Sorry for the interruption, Therese. The floor is yours.
Oh no, it was one. Yeah, I was just like listening to that and just loving it. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's very similar to the intuition stuff that I use and teach. It's also, it's like spot on. It's like, that's exactly how I would also.
It's not an accident that you're teaching intuitive techniques, right? It's not an accident. That's what we're here to do in our own way. We're here to influence the collective in our own little niche. The pre-planned collective niche that we set up for ourselves. And it's so imperative. We have gotten away in hundreds and thousands of years. We've gotten away from hearing our intuition. We turn on the news to be told what to do. We let our boss tell us what to do. We let our families, our friends influence our actions and our decisions. But our higher self, our path is very unique. And if we're doing what other people are telling us to do, which college education is a big part of it. I've been shown that, college education, it's a business. They're making money. And now the majority of degrees you can get, you can't really do anything with them. They're fun to learn, but there's a lot of things you can't, it's a system, right? So you're here to teach people how to tap into their intuition so they can stop letting the news dictate the next steps, or let politicians or the flavor of the week or whatever, because our intuition is how we remember our soul contracts. So your work is so imperative, because you're here to help the collective tap into the universal, unlimited, divine guidance that is part of what we use to create this life for ourselves. And what I've learned is that when you're off of your path, with all the clients that I've helped the last couple of years, I've learned this, another theme that comes through is when you're off your path, things are difficult. Things will continue to get difficult. In fact, my corporate career, I probably should have left several years before, because the heat started getting turned up even more. You start to lose even more passion for what you're doing. And that's the universe saying, you're not seeing the signs because we don't know how to tap into our intuition to notice the signs. So now we have to turn up the heat to the point, because they can't mess with, there's the law of non-intervention. So they can't force us, but they can make things so difficult that it encourages us to make a certain decision, right? So the intuitive work is absolutely, absolutely imperative.
Yeah. I was just talking to you about this yesterday, Jessica, when I was saying about the college degree that I went, like, listened to a parent instead of listening to myself a million years ago. So it's, it's very, very resonant. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, because Therese has a university degree in IT, of all topics, IT, right?
Yeah, never worked today.
But it's very, it's very valuable though to know those things, right? Like, I wish I had a degree in IT. That would be amazing.
Yeah, but my degree is like 20 years old, so it's like I don't even know anything anymore. It changes so quickly, you know, it changes so fast. Like, everything is just completely new. So yeah. I'm like a dinosaur, you know, with the IT these days. So but yeah, that's the listening to others, and then just listening to yourself and completely pivoting then, you know, which is essentially my story, like I was saying yesterday, Jessica. But yeah, exactly. All this is like resonates completely. Yeah.
Teresa has a beautiful story. We worked on that yesterday during a session of the Find Your Breakthrough Radio Accelerator. And yes, and you know, we discovered, let's say, we uncovered your hero's journey and your unique pairings and so on. And it was actually a lot of fun to me, hopefully to you as well, Therese. And then we got some clarity as well at the end of this. We do so in a little mastermind as well. So basically then everybody can chime in as well and give feedback about the story that we are creating. Yes. And this is exactly what we were talking about. We were talking about intuition a lot. Yes. Therese, by the way, do you have another question for Heather?
No, I don't. I have no more questions. I think she's amazing, beautiful human. So
I would love to share maybe an example of a private client session, like something that can come through when someone's looking to know what their purpose and mission is. Would you like to hear that?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yeah, I think I think we'd love to hear it. Yeah.
So here's an example of a client a couple weeks ago I channeled for. She's kind of into astrology and human design, and she just kind of wanted to know what her mission and purpose was. And so when I plugged in and I got into my channel, I don't know anything about these people, you know, when they come to me. So anything that comes in is just like raw information. And the one thing I did know though was that she was feeling she didn't feel like posting on Instagram was natural. She didn't want to feel like she was stuck in a process of having to post every day or whatever. And she just was curious about overall what her purpose and mission is. And what I saw, what my guides showed me was that she actually, as a soul, has a job in the soul realms. Her job as a soul, she hasn't incarnated for, they said millennia. The word they used was millennia. And her job as a soul is to help the souls that have left traumatic lifetimes. So whether you've passed away young and was traumatic, or you passed away unexpectedly traumatically, or you've had a traumatic life, souls who leave a body that had a traumatic life, her job was to help them reacclimate back into the spirit world. So you bring soul memory with you, right? And when we're back in the spirit world, all that exists is joy and love, but you still bring this soul memories of the trauma on earth. So she was kind of like, the souls would come to her and she would help get them back into like their neutral state and shed the trauma. And my guides showed me that after millennia of doing this and having so much trauma, so many souls going up in trauma, she said, I need to get in front of the problem. So she chose to get down to incarnate into a human body. And she confirmed for me, she goes, yeah, I don't feel, this is bizarre to me. Sometimes I look around and I'm like, what am I doing here? And that's what they showed me, that she as a soul is looking around going, what is all this mayhem? Like we know what's happening when we're up there. We know what's happening on earth, but not to the degree of experiencing it in a human body. So she chose to incarnate, and her job is to now help souls heal from trauma here before they go and they go back up into the soul realm. And it confirms so much for her about why she was pulled to do certain things. She feels like she's pulled to help certain women, but looking around, she doesn't see other people doing that, which again goes back to your intuition, right? You got to follow your path. Your path isn't anyone else's path. We're here for our unique individual purpose. So you got to turn off everything else, listen to your guidance. And so it gave her she basically, instead of like waiting a year or 2 or 3 to follow that poll because she was doubting it, she jumped right in. She said, okay, this is it. This is what I'm here to do. And it gave her the confidence to move forward with it. So it was really, really cool to see that was her job there.
Oh my God, she just did it. She just, cut the cord with the past and then started this new career. Oh my God, it's so cool.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Did she give you a testimonial? Because this would be perfect.
Yeah. She also took my course, and like she's been, I have a ton from her. Yeah. I'm actually going to take a snippet of the interview and put it on my YouTube channel so people can see what it looks like when I'm channeling and kind of give people context. It's one thing to explain it, but it's another thing to see it happening, because it's really, I'm having a conversation out loud with my guides and I'm having a psychic conversation at the same time. And so you get to hear the one side of it. And it's kind of wild to watch.
Oh my God, it's so cool. Therese, is it something that you do as well?
Yeah, I don't actually do that, because like in the sessions, I suppose the way I work is exactly like, I'm staring off into space and just talking. And the information is like that, just coming through on the client in the moment. And it's like, when you're working with kind of beyond time, you get like a whole life story in 1 second. Like you don't have to sit there and listen to someone tell you something. It's like a kind of instant knowing. And sometimes it's quite like, I don't hold back. Like I'm just like so straight direct. I'm like, we're going in for the goods here, So I don't always feel appropriate to share what comes up in the sessions afterwards, because sometimes it's pretty deep and pretty intense, not intense, but I'm not here to like help anybody get more into their ego. I'm here to like break through a lot of that stuff. So but yeah, like there are, I don't go on Instagram or anything after I deal with a client and talk about it. It's just not something I do. But I suppose I could look at like watering it down and talking about the transformation, but I wouldn't actually like personally, like I can see how that would work, if for Heather perfectly, but for me, I don't work that way.
Yeah, you want to, especially the private details, because a lot of, like Therese was just saying, it sounds similar to me, where I just get this, I call it a stamp or a download of information, and it's like all of it at once. Instead of reading a book to understand what's going on, it's just like this knowing that gets stamped. And there's a lot of intimate, private details that you don't want to share those. Those are very, very, things that these people don't even realize, right? Things that sometimes they are hearing for the first time about relationships too, right? So, so what I do is I'll take like the beautiful gold nugget of 1 out of 50 clients I'm saying something about, but I'll take the beautiful gold nugget, and it's usually from a client that's already written me a testimony, and something to share to help people understand what's possible when you have someone channel for you, because it's like you get straight to the heart of whatever's going on, right? And it's so encouraging, it's so life-changing, and it's so, you just quantum leap in so many areas of your life with just it activates people. I have clients all the time reaching out to me a few weeks later going, I'm still feeling activated, like things are still shifting for me, because there really is a magic there. Even just hearing it being spoken, even just hearing about a traumatic past life will clear it, will clear that trauma and help them clear whatever is connected with that past life in this life. So yeah, there's sensitive things that it's like a therapy appointment. You wouldn't share personal, intimate details of a therapy appointment with, a friend. You want to keep it private.
That's true.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh my God, this has been amazing. And we are unfortunately approaching the end of our conversation today. But Heather, before we go, I have a question that I ask everybody. It's always the last question of every single interview. And you can answer it the way you prefer. I've seen multiple ways. I won't share anything more, but just a question. So what is a question that I haven't asked you that I should have asked you though? I've got anything thus far, like so many different options. Let's see what you come up with.
What you should ask me? Oof. Let me think. I feel like all the questions were both of your questions were great. I guess maybe what advice would you give someone who is considering leaving a corporate job but has fear around that? What would you do?
Yeah. So Heather, what is a piece of advice you would give to somebody who's thinking about leaving their corporate career, but not 100% sure? Maybe they're scared, maybe they're insecure, maybe they would like to think about it for another 6 months. I don't know. What would you tell them?
I would say it's totally normal to feel scared. That's our ego again. It's there to protect us and overprotects us most of the time. So it's normal, but you're feeling the call for a reason. You're feeling the call, and just know that if you follow that intuitive call, whether you can see where it's leading you or not, that it's going to bring you a life that you never imagined, because we can't remember the plan that we made for ourselves. We can't remember the blueprint we created for ourselves. You just have to trust that this feeling that you have is actually your intuition connected to your higher self saying it's time now. And the quicker you act on that, the smoother the transition will be. When we hold back and we doubt and we wait for 6 months or a year or 2 or 5, things will, like I said earlier, the heat will start getting turned up so that you have no choice but to leave. So I would say, don't doubt it, and know this is coming from a higher calling. It's coming from a predestined, planned blueprint, and the life that you're getting ready to step into is going to blow your mind.
Wow. So don't doubt this intuition, trust it, and also trust in the fact that you will find a way to present yourself, to position yourself, to basically people that have already known you for a while, especially in that corporate capacity, and also to new people, right? So you will certainly find your sweet spot in your personal brand.
Yep. Follow the breadcrumbs. We're not doing this alone. So positioning yourself to your old life and your new life, the universe will bring you the opportunities to do that, and will give you the courage to do that. And when you're following your calling and you're on your path, you will naturally be able to tap into the passion, and it will organically evolve for you.
Yeah. Wow. This has been amazing. Thank you so much for dropping so much value, so many golden nuggets left and right in so many different areas. This has been amazing. Thank you so much, Heather. And thank you as well, Therese, for joining us and, participating in our conversation. I think you should come back to the show, Therese. Therese anyway, but you, Heather. Therese, you should
love to.
Yes, in the new year, or maybe we can do a panel, the three of us. In January, February. Do you like panels?
Yeah.
Because now in January, I will be introducing panels, not only interviews on the Personal PR Show, but also panels on the Personal PR Show. For example, in January, we have a TEDx organizer and then a multiple TEDx speaker. And I will get them together on the same call in the same episode, and that will be a panel. So we can do the same with the three of us as well, if you girls are game.
Yeah. Tip number 3, just say yes. Yes. I'm there.
Great tip.
This has been so cool. Thank you so much, Heather, and thank you so much, Therese, and thank you so much, everybody at home as well. And see you, I think, tomorrow for another episode of the Personal PR Show. Bye, everybody. Bye, Heather. Bye, Therese.
Yeah, thanks. Bye, Francesca.